Here again after our long holiday break. We tried yesterday for a full day, but the weather decided not to cooperate, and we ended up going home early. But that's kind of what winter in Vermont's like, right? So we just try to plan for it by dressing appropriately and things like that. We have a relatively short assembly this morning. Mrs. Dower's third grade class this year, almost said second grade because she taught second grade last year, but her third grade class has been learning about notable people. And they're going to share some of the things that they have learned here in just 1 second. Before I have them come up, though, I just wanted to have you take a look around the theater real quick. Just look around the theater, look around the floors, look around the walls. Tell me if you notice anything about our theaters. Anybody notice anything? Who notices something? Gregory. Oh my goodness, Gregory noticed the same thing I did this morning. He said, I think I may have noticed that they painted the floors. They did. I just noticed that this morning too. They painted the floors a beautiful blue color. And if you recall, they also painted the walls in here, right? The walls look different. And we got new carpet, right? I'm bringing this up because how many of you know who Ricky and Barbie are? Yeah, Ricky and Barbie. They are pretty important people in our school, and they help us to make sure that it's a nice, safe, healthy, clean place for you. And they have some other folks that work with them in the evening. Sometimes you don't see them, and they're the folks that come in and they make sure our facility and our school looks beautiful for you so that it's a pleasurable place to come and to go to school. And I bring this up because wintertime, as you know, can be pretty messy, right? We get all kinds of slush and snow and gunk on our boots. And sometimes if we're walking through the halls, maybe we're going and doing some cross-country skiing with Mrs. Ewald. We have some boots on that can sometimes leave scuff marks and things like that, right? So winter, in general, it can be a messy time of the year. So can mud season. But I bring it up because we work really hard here on being respectful and responsible and safe in the classroom. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if we could remember to do that to help out our buildings and grounds folks too? If we could remember to think about how we're taking care of our facility and our school, because they put so much work in trying to make it a beautiful place for you. You guys think you could do that challenge? Take care of our building, supporting. It's the best way to thank them for everything they do to make sure our school's a nice place for you. Okay? So I'm going to put you to that challenge. Mrs. Dower, if you in your class, like, come on up.
In our In our ELA class, we have been learning about noble people. We read about Rosa Parks. We also spent time studying the civil rights movement. Today, we would like to share with you the timeline of the civil rights movement and our thoughts about why it is so important.
January 31st, 1965, the 13th Amendment is passed and slavery is officially abolished from the United States. Abraham Lincoln was the President of the United States during the Civil War. His actions were vital in ending slavery.
The Civil Rights Act is passed. March 1st, 1875, the Civil Rights Act is passed. This law says all African Americans should be treated equally. The picture of John Marcus Langston, he helped write the act was a member of Congress.
November 26, 1883. The U.S. Supreme Court ends the Civil Rights Act. They believe states should be in charge of their own laws. Many states in the South begin laws that are unfair to African Americans. The picture of John Marshall Harlan was the only person in the Supreme Court that did not agree with the change.
8-year-old Linda Brown lives in a short walk away from a good school, but she is forced to go to a long bus trip to a school for African Americans only. Her parents file a lawsuit against the school. The case goes all the way to the Supreme Court.
May 17, 1954. All members of the Supreme Court ruled the schools current by segregation. It is a former case called Brown versus Board for Ediction of Tampa, Kansas. Before the case, every state in red required segregation. The states in green had already outlawed segregation.
Rosa Parks refuses to give up her bus seats and bus passenger, and she got arrested.
African American and other in Montgomery, Alabama boycott or refuse to use the bus system. Martin Luther King Jr. leads the boycott. It lasted a year. Then people must be treated equally on the bus system.
The governor of Arkansas orders the National Guard to block 9 African American students from going to Little Rock High School. U.S. President Eisenhower orders federal troops to make sure that African American students are allowed to enter. February 1st, 1964, African American college students started sitting at a lunch counter in Greensboro, North Carolina. They would not leave until they were served. Many protests like this started across the South. After 6 months, they are finally served lunch.
May 4th, 1961, over 1,000 white and African American volunteered to take throughout the Southern segregation was not allowed, and the volunteers still had to face many angry people and mobs. The volunteers were called the Freedom Riders.
August 28, 1963, more than 250,000 African Americans and whites marched in Washington, D.C. for equal rights for African Americans. Martin Luther King Jr. gives his famous I Have a Dream speech.
Congress passed the Civil Rights Act, which declares disagreement based on the race, gender, or illegal. The act is also end unfairly voting for a crime.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is assassinated April 4th, 1968. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee.
We spent time researching and writing about those important events during the civil rights movement. We all wrote about which event we would have wanted to be a part of and why. We would like to share with you our writing. If I could have been a part of any event on the timeline, I would want to be a part of Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech because it's inspiring and I believe in his message of equal rights.
If I could be part of any event on the timeline, I would have wanted to be part of the bus boycott. I believe in equal rights for everyone. I don't like when people are treated differently. I would have boycotted the buses also and would have walked to school.
If I could have been part of any event on the timeline, I would have been part of the bus boycott because it was not fair back then, because colored people and white people were treated differently. I would love to be in the 1950s to be a part of the bus boycott and walk with Rosa Parks.
If I could have been part of any event on the timeline, I would have been with Rosa Parks during the bus boycott because I would have wanted to stop segregation on buses.
If I could have been part of any event on the timeline, I would want to be part of the Green Borough sit-in because I would like to help the college students change the laws. I believe in equal treatment and everyone should be able to sit where they want in restaurants. If I could have been part of any event on the timeline, I would have been part of the Greensboro sit-in because I would have wanted to help the college students during those 6 months out. I would have wanted to change the world and help all African Americans get fair treatment. This is the part of a timeline I would want to be in.
If I could have been part of any event on the timeline, I would want to be part of the bus boycotts. I want to be part of the bus boycott so I could help stop segregation so people could sit wherever they want to sit on the bus.
If I could be part of any day on the timeline, to be with Rosa Parks. Well, I bet she's very interesting. What? And brave. She helped a lot of people.
If I could have been part of any event on the timeline, I would have been part of Rosa Parks' civil rights movement. I think people can have equal rights. I believe African American can have the same rights as white people. I believe in everything Rosa Parks believed in.
If I could have been part of any event on the timeline, I would have been part of the bus boycott because I want to be able to walk with all of the people that have to have equal rights. I believe that in 1955, segregation should have already been abolished. Now in 2016, all of the rights are equal.
If I could have been part of event on the timeline, I would have been wanted to be there when Martin Luther King Jr. gave his speech because I believe in what he had to say.
If I could have been part of any event on the timeline, I would have been in 1951 with Linda, an African American girl with a school 1 minute away from her house, but it was only for whites. And she had to take the bus to her school, which took a really long time to get there. It was unfair to African Americans that they had to go to different schools. I would have been friends with Linda, and I would have wanted her to come to our school.
If I could be being a part any event on the timeline, I would have been part of ending segregation in schools. Everyone should be able to go to any school that they want to. If I could been part of any timeline, I would have liked to been part of the bus boycott. I could meet Rosa Parks. I mean, who in the entire world would not want to meet her? I just don't get it. What? Another reason is I would want to be a part of the bus boycott, and stand up for other people's rights is so I could tell my children that I was in the bus boycott. The last reason I would have been a part of the bus boycott is I could have met MLK Jr.
If I could have been part of any event on the timeline, I would have been part of Abraham Lincoln because he changed history when he abolished slavery. If he did not do what he did, nothing else would happen in the civil rights movement.
Can we get the lights on?
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Today is a special PBIS day. First, we're going to collect our coins. And then, how many people remember last year? You do? How many people remember last year a really big prize we got in the winter? A really big prize we got in the winter. Can you tell me what it was?
Skating.
Right, last year we took the whole school skating, but we had to earn that prize. Remember, it was called Winter Madness? We had done it the year before, too, and we had a basketball tournament or a volleyball tournament. So we're going to kick off our Winter Madness today. So first we're going to collect our coins, then we're going to kick off our Winter Madness. So kindergarten, welcome back. Come on down with your coins. First grade, come on down. Second grade, you may follow them right down. Third grade, come on down. Nice check-in. Fourth grade, start making your way down. Five, six, come on down. All right, so we're about a third of the way. That's perfectly marked up, Steve. But now it is time to kick off our Winter Madness. We're going to talk about what that's going to look like. Last year, do you remember how you found out we were going skating? What had happened? What happened? Did we just tell you? Lucian. Lucian said that we had to earn points, and then we revealed some pictures that gave us some clues. That's going to happen again this year. So what are our 3 school-wide expectations that we're going to be focusing on? Our 3 school-wide expectations. Silas, do you know what they are?
Responsible, respectful, and safe.
Excellent. Wherever we are, we want to be responsible, respectful, and safe. Who do we want to do that? We want our entire K-6 population to be working on that. Our goal is a total of 9,000 chips to earn a big, fun reward. I can give you one clue. It's going to be off school grounds again this year. That's the only clue you're getting today. So it's going to be a big reward. Okay, now, if you remember, I think last year we focused on a different area of the school each week. Like maybe we had focused on the playground one week, and then we focused on the cafeteria another week. This year we've picked 4 places that you go to that we want you to focus on being extra responsible, extra safe, and extra respectful. Does anyone have a good guess at what they think one of these places are?
The cafeteria.
Good guess, but we're not focusing on the cafeteria this year. Does anybody have another guess? Once you get one, you're going to be rolling with them.
Playground?
Not the playground. That was last year. Kenny.
The gym.
PE is one place that we're focusing on this year. Does anyone have another guess at what might be another place?
Art.
The art room is another place we're focusing on. Does anyone have another guess?
Classroom.
Kinda. These are classrooms.
The library.
The library. We're down to one more place. Who thinks they know? Any kindergarten guys think they know what it is? Robert? We said the library, PE, and the art room. What do you think the last one is?
Music.
The music room. Excellent. Excellent. So we are focusing on our behavior in our specials. From now, when do you think this ends? February break. So we're going all through January to right before February break. Wednesday, January 18th is our next assembly. We want to try and earn 3,000 chips by then. We have a big shipment of chips coming in this week. So special teachers are going to be loaded up with them, looking to give them out. They're dying to give them to you. So that means that each class needs to earn about 180 chips each week. So you have 5 days of school, a special every day. You can definitely do that. All right, so it kicks off today, starting immediately. So any special you go to today, make sure you're on your best behavior. You have library. Great. All right. That ends our assembly time unless anyone has anything else to say. No one? I meant teachers and adults. Sorry about that. I should have clarified. All right, kindergarten, have a great day. Hey.